Well, all right. In what could be the game of the week, there's a ton of intrigue. Let's start off talking about Joe Burrow, talking about the Bengals and how they could attack this Buffalo Bills defense. So the chart you see on the screen right here, this is going to be where both of these teams ranked in specific positional categories according to Pro Football Focus grade, kind of just letting us know how they match up against each other, because we saw them play, a little bit before the unfortunate Damar Hamlin situation happened that canceled the game. So really, it's almost like these are two teams playing for the first time. Cincinnati, according to PFF, had the #1 passing attack, and worth mentioning, what that means is when the quarterback threw the football, right? So it's not, I believe Allen had the #1 overall grade because of his running ability, but when Burrow was just throwing it, he had the best passing grade out of any other quarterback. And then receiving, had some injuries this year and is still #6, which is very impressive. Buffalo's covered well. They've been a top 10 coverage unit, but it hasn't been elite necessarily, which it might have to be to cover Cincinnati. It is good on great there. However, the glaring hole that you see for Cincinnati, and probably the scariest thing for the Bengals, is going to be the pass blocking, which, Buffalo has the 6th ranked pass rush in football. Cincinnati, the 31st ranked pass blocking unit. I think both are worse now, though, right? Buffalo lost Von Miller. That's a big deal. And Cincinnati has lost, 3 of their starters at this point. So they already weren't great in this category. But now that they're banged up, there's some real concerns going into that. And I'll touch on that right after I get done with this chart. But just the other stuff, Buffalo's definitely susceptible to getting beat through the ground. That's definitely a way you can beat them. However, will Cincinnati be able to do that? Run blocking hasn't been great, and like I said, is now more injured. Running has been fine, but, if you can't run block, it doesn't matter too much. So it's not great on not great there, whereas it's great on great in the, coverage and receiving scenarios. But let's look at this now. This is the Pro Football Focus page now for all of the edge rushers for Buffalo, because I want to talk about, Von Miller. He was PFF's 10th ranked edge rusher on the season, but, he's out now. He's out for the year. So that hurts. Can they have other guys step up? Well, I would say so, yeah. Gregory Rousseau has been great for them this season, and then you have, Boogie Basham can come in, and then Shaq Lawson and AJ Espinoza. Listen, their PFF grades haven't been ideal, but they will be more rotational guys in this game. So Buffalo definitely still can rush the passer in this one. It definitely is a mismatch. But let's get into some film, and I'm going to talk about Joe Burrow without showing any Joe Burrow film. That's what we're doing here, because it's a preview. So we're talking about how how the Bengals will attack the Bills' defense. Well, a lot of what you can do, I think, was shown in the Miami game, not the most recent playoff game, but the one a few weeks ago, because Miami had the receivers to attack this defense, and also they had their healthy quarterback at the time. So this is going to be the one we're going to watch a lot of film from, and there were opportunities. Like, this is a great example of the opportunities that can arise in this scenario. It's a cover 2 zone. You have a receiver who you can see at a certain point this could get open. Watch as when Tua takes the snap, he's going to look down the field, and there's a window to make this throw. Tua has a decision to make, and this will be a decision that Burrow probably has to make in this game of, do you try to fit it through these windows or do you throw the ball away? Tua threw the ball away right here, but it makes me wonder, will Burrow try that? If it's Jamar Chase instead of Jalen Waddle doing that, or maybe T. Higgins, is this something that Burrow is going to try and do? And if he does, and he can hit on those a few times, that could be enough to swing the football game from a loss to a win if things aren't going well. So, Buffalo makes things difficult on you, but does give you windows to make the throw as well. I think that's kind of the best way to describe the Buffalo defense. Is it's possible if you execute your plays, you will succeed. But if you screw up, it could really, really backfire. It actually reminds me a little bit of, Jason Giambi he famously said that if pitchers just execute their pitches, they can get him out. He has a spot in his zone that if you hit there 3 times, he's going to strike out. The issue is if you miss even slightly, he's going to knock it out of the park, and that's kind of similar to the Buffalo defense. I think miss even slightly, they're going to knock the ball away or even intercept it. There's also stuff like this that I think is key because, what's going to end up happening is it's going to end up being a cover 3 zone, and they have a receiver running a quick route over the middle. Okay, simple enough. Find a gap in coverage and throw it and try to time it perfectly. The issue is that they're not showing cover 3 zone. They're showing a 2 safety deep coverage. You don't know exactly what's happening. Buffalo loves to disguise, and this is actually even more of an exotic play because there's going to be a blitz involved here, so you're going to have linebackers come in from the offense's left or the defense's right, so it's going to be kind of this crazy disguise that is going to take some time for Tua to read. Like, watch out when this play begins. I mean, you see all this craziness happening. Down the field, this is still working. Again, what we knew pre-snap is working. There's a window to make this throw, but you have to make this decision quickly. You have to realize this quickly, and it's going to be a question of, can Burrow do that? Tua, to his credit, does it. Tua is able to make that throw. I would actually say I think Tua, I would definitely like Burrow I think Burrow's a better player than Tua, but I would probably say Tua is a little bit better at this kind of stuff than Burrow is. Burrow likes to react to plays a little bit more, but I still think he's still good at this stuff and probably will be able to do this. But again, how consistently? That's kind of the question, as when you're going up against Buffalo, how consistently can you do this? And finally, going over here, it's going to be a zone coverage play. You have Jalen Waddle with a one-on-one on the outside. That's the last thing I want to talk about is Buffalo will give you some one-on-ones on the outside. They will give you these opportunities, and if you can succeed at them, it can go a long way. Obviously, you have Jamar Chase for Cincinnati, who is so good in these one-on-ones, doesn't get a lot of opportunities to work one-on-one, but if he gets the opportunity, he could make the most of them. Watch as right when this play begins. I mean, you see, this is Jalen Waddle right here, and he's looking to be in a good spot, and worth noting, there's the question, right? Will Burrow have enough time to make the throw? But in this spot, you're about 2 1/3 seconds into the play, and typically pressure comes at about 2.5 seconds. So typically, I would say that Burrow probably will have enough time if he gets one-on-ones, because you don't actually have to wait until it gets open to make the throw. You can make the throw a little bit earlier and try to time it. And a lot of times when it comes to these deep throws, timing is more important. And just being able to, if you throw it quickly, that's sometimes okay. You just put a little more air under it. So I do think that Burrow should have enough time if he gets these one-on-one matchups. The question is, will Chase win them? I mean, you see here that, Waddle certainly won that one. They've been giving Tre'Davious White these one-on-one matchups because White, over the course of his career, has succeeded massively at them. But since coming back from the injury, he hasn't quite looked the same. He's looked better every week, and so maybe this will be the week that he looks like old Tre'Davious White entirely. That's possible, but there's a chance that you can pick up some points there for Cincinnati. So, predictions time. The Buffalo defensive points per drive on the season is a great 1.71. The Cincinnati offensive points per drive on the season is a great 2.48. Both very good. Both in the top 5 in their respective categories. In fact, both of these teams are great in both categories this season. So it's good on good. These are 2 Super Bowl contenders. Make no mistake about it. What do I think happens in this game? Well, I do trust Joe Burrow. I trust the receiving core. I just don't trust this offensive line. I think it's going to have some issues. I think it's going to hurt the Cincinnati Bengals offense. I'm predicting they score 2 points per drive, which again isn't a bad score necessarily, especially against the Buffalo Bills defense. It would be 22 points in 11 drives. I do think the Bills are going to be able to come through and make some plays defensively. I think the Bengals will be able to make some plays offensively. Will 22 points in 11 drives be enough for the Bengals to pull off this victory? Well, you'll have to watch my next video when I talk about the other side of the ball, Josh Allen, how he's going to attack the Bengals defense, and then I will give my prediction on the other side of the ball, how much they score, and then my final prediction on the game. Could go either way, certainly. But yeah, that's what I think of this one. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.